Matcha is everywhere. Ice cream smoothies and even Kit Kat bars. It's marketed as a superfood and an Instagrammable lifestyle choice. But a decade ago, most Americans didn't even know the word, and now it's everywhere. Now it's a $5 to $10 daily indulgence for millions. And that's where the hidden cost starts. Not really in the tea itself, but rather the combination of marketing, consumerism, and everyday spending habits. And to be crystal clear, matcha is healthy. It's rich in antioxidants, it has caffeine for steady energy, and compounds like L-theanine that help you focus. Matcha, or green tea, has earned its place in centuries of Japanese culture. But in its most modern consumer form, most matcha isn't really matcha anymore. Instead, it contains sugar, syrups, sweetened milk, and flavored powders mixed with consumerism, overconsumption, and of course, the financial cost of it all. Matcha is often more sugar than green tea, and you pay for it. And when you buy it every single day, or even multiple times a day, that $5 matcha latte starts to add up faster than you think. So today, we are talking about matcha, how this earthy green drink has become so popular, so diluted, and so expensive. And to understand all of this, we need to go back. Matcha actually originated in China during the Tang Dynasty, and powdered green tea traveled to Japan in the 12th century. And the preparation of matcha at this time was a ritual, it was slow, it was deliberate. Every scoop and every sip was intentional and had a purpose. And for centuries, it was ceremonial and was deeply tied to tradition. Drinking matcha wasn't about speed or convenience, or because everyone else was doing it. It was about presence and fulfillment. But fast forward to the 21st century, and matcha has been transformed into a multi-billion-dollar global commodity. Japan exported $50 million worth of matcha in 2003, and by 2023, exports surpassed $900 million. That's an increase of over 1,600% in 20 years. The thing is, matcha transformed from being a tea to a lifestyle product and a social signal. And this whole globalization didn't happen by accident or even organically. Corporations and wellness influencers all over Instagram and TikTok have manufactured and created this demand. They saw an opportunity and took advantage of it. They wrapped matcha in health claims, energy without the jitters, or a metabolism booster, and sold it to a market hungry for exotic wellness products. Franchises like Starbucks added the matcha latte to their menus. Social media, Instagram, and TikTok influencers flooded their feeds with green cups of matcha. And suddenly, a tea that once symbolized mindfulness and restraint and patience became a symbol of consumption and identity. And like I said before, matcha is good for you. It's rich in antioxidants, it supports your metabolism, reduces inflammation, and improves focus. And caffeine from matcha is buffered by L-theanine, which creates calm alertness. But the thing is, modern consumer matcha is often loaded with sugar, milk, or syrups, which reduces all of the benefits. A quote-unquote healthy latte can have as much sugar as a can of soda. And if you go into the world's most famous coffee chain, Starbucks, their matcha drinks are often laced with sugar. A grande matcha creme frappuccino has 420 calories and 61 grams of sugar, along with 3 scoops of sweetened matcha powder. And no, it's already sweetened, meaning the matcha powder itself already has sugar and with additional vanilla flavoring. You're essentially paying more while consuming less nutrition. And this whole health halo tricks you into thinking spending more equals better outcomes, when in fact, you're buying marketing more so than wellness. Even powdered matcha kits sold online usually come in pre-measured packets mixed with sweeteners. You're paying premium prices for convenience and aesthetics while losing the real nutritional value of matcha. And all of this stems from your money, well, more so corporate profit. These companies don't care if the matcha you think you're drinking isn't healthy as long as it sells. And companies have made it seem necessary for your health and have normalized it as a part of a daily routine. It might be your morning latte or your afternoon smoothie boost, and it becomes a part of people's identity. If you drink matcha, therefore you are supposedly health conscious and environmentally aware. And while that's all fine and dandy, the problem is that the identity and trend come with a cost. A single latte at Starbucks costs around $5.25, and boutique cafes charge $7 or even $8. And even just one a day is $160 to $240 a month. In a year, that is $1,900 to $2,900. And over a decade, that can total to $19,000 to $29,000. And the thing is, that could be a car, and it could also be an investment for retirement or an emergency. And again, this isn't even for the actual benefits of matcha, because it's laced with so much sugar that all the other harmful additions outweigh the health benefits of pure matcha. So you might be thinking, why is matcha so darn expensive lately? Well, there are a few reasons. Aside from all the tariffs, matcha isn't a commodity you can mass produce overnight like so many other processed foods so many people eat on a normal basis. And tea plants require 3 years to mature before harvest, and producing ceremonial grade matcha is labor intensive, where you have to shade the leaves, handpick the youngest ones, steam, dry, and grind them with stone mills. And before, it was all about patience and quality while appreciating the tea. And on top of that, Japan's tea farmers average over 60 years old, with younger generations less interested in traditional farming. And when there's scarcity, that means latte prices just go up, and it's safe to say that prices of matcha will continue to increase over time. And the thing is, Japan's matcha production meets only 60% of global demand, creating scarcity that drives prices even higher. Wholesale prices of high-grade matcha have more than doubled over the past decade, and for premium, ceremonial grades, prices sometimes increase by 150%, which has even outpaced general US inflation. Between 2014 and 2024, the Consumer Price Index rose roughly 30%. Basically, your matcha latte today costs more because of general inflation, and on top of that, it's the time it takes to make, the scarcity, global demand, and the marketing behind it, pushing it as a wellness product. So now that we know why matcha is so expensive, let's talk about what it means for you. Because small, daily expenses have a compounding effect over time, which is a financial principle called the latte factor. However, for purposes of this topic and video, we'll call it the matcha latte factor. If you have a $5 matcha latte every day, $5 doesn't seem like much, but multiply that by 365 days and suddenly your habits are costing you thousands of dollars a year. If you bought a matcha latte every day for $5.25 over 30 years, that is $57,487. And all that sugar adds up over time as well, and can even become a very large medical bill in the future. And to be crystal clear, a lot of people drink matcha because it's a healthier alternative to coffee. And for both coffee and matcha, there are very premium, high-end grades, and of course also more cost-effective and budget-friendly versions as well. So is there anything wrong with a little pick-me-up to keep you going throughout your day while staying within your budget? Absolutely not. But there are things to consider, which are the long-run impacts and when it's no longer really about the caffeine and more so about the sugar, all while spending beyond your means. So given all of this, matcha is expensive, it's healthy, and people like it. So how can you be more financially responsible while not giving up matcha? Well, in life, it's all about choices. As much as matcha can be expensive, it can also be affordable, just like coffee. Instead of going to that fancy cafe at the corner, simply just make it at home. Ceremonial grade matcha costs about $40 for 30 to 40 servings, which is $1 per cup and a fraction of cafe prices. So you can still enjoy your matcha without overpaying, and you also get to control what you actually put in your matcha latte and therefore in your body. And it also reframes matcha as a healthy lifestyle and not as an expensive obligation you have to pay for. And remember that matcha latte factor we talked about, where a $5.25 matcha latte over 30 years turns into $57,487. A $1 matcha latte over 30 years would be $10,950, which means you would save yourself $47,000. And what if you saved that money you saved every day of $4.25? In 30 years, at a 7% return in the S&P 500, you would have $158,771. Basically, your money compounds over time, all while maintaining a truly healthy lifestyle. And investing is for everyone, not just the people who drink ceremonial grade matcha, but for everyone. And do consider a high yield savings account which could cover the cost of your matcha just by keeping your money in a bank like SoFi or Wealthfront. And to be clear, consumerism isn't evil and neither is matcha, and it only becomes costly when it overrides financial awareness. There's also this whole movement of minimalism and frugality, which isn't about depriving yourself of everything, and it's more about appreciating the fewer things you do have in your life. And I think that's pretty reminiscent of matcha and the way it was intended to be consumed, which is not drenched with a bunch of sugar, but appreciating the matcha itself with the quality and patience and time that it took to make it. So whether it's matcha or your life, the general lesson here is to mindfully consume, both in the matcha sense, but also in the financial habit sense. And that's it. Let me know what you think about matcha and this consumer culture we live in that's quietly draining our lives and wallets in the comments below. And if you enjoy videos like this blend of consumerism, pop culture, and finance, please leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any other videos. Thank you very much for watching. Matcha itself is great for you, but so many of us add one ingredient more addictive, more profitable, and more widespread than any other, and that's sugar. So check out the next video on how sugar became the cornerstone of every processed food, and how understanding its financial and psychological costs might just save you thousands.